Hello viewers and welcome to Africa and Beyond Television Network. President Advocate Nelson Chamisa has finally spoken about the two accidents which happened in the past week, which claimed around 27 lives. He says, too many accidents in Zimbabwe. I'm unsettled by the recent accident that claimed at least 24 lives. Too many lives are being lost on our roads. Zimbabwe has been ranked globally as the country with the highest rate of road traffic accidents. Our roads are unsafe. Our roads should not be death traps that swallow lives. There must be safe passages to our destinations, not destinations of tragedy. Traveling in Zimbabwe now is like going to war. You never know if you will make it alive. Our emergency responders are doing their best under difficult circumstances, but a response of 1 to 2 hours is simply too long and is costing lives at the accident scene. Instead of being places of healing, our hospitals are themselves in hospital. Have become hospitalized. They are basically death cages where treatment is absent and survival is marriage. We just have too many accidents in our country. The first and biggest accident is the accident of a wrong government. We have recorded inordinate accidents on the roads, all this pointing to a glaring defect in governance and leadership, not only in policy direction, but also in the decisive actions and interventions needed to address this debilitating challenge on our roads. We continue to pray for the families mourning the 24 lives lost in this tragedy. We also wish all injured a quick and speedy recovery. May God comfort and strengthen all of us. So this is what President Nelson Chamisa has said. And it's very, very important to note that this is a national disaster. And we continue to pray for those who were involved in this accident, who were injured, and the families to be consoled by God. One of the most difficult things to accept at this point in time is that we have a VID, which is supposed to make sure that they produce good drivers. But because of corruption, they are not. You go to VID. I always explain this. Examination papers are now being sold for VID, which means somebody no longer need to study, no longer need to know kuti mitemo yeparodi noti kudii. They will simply claim my answers. They will go to write an examination, they write, they pass with 100% for class 1. You go unotora class 1 yake. And the driving schools themselves, because of mass corruption which is happening, they no longer take it serious to properly train people. They no longer take it serious to train people to be good drivers. Because the instructors which we have at the VID got through the same system which is bogus. Which means the same people who got licenses through hook and crook have become instructors somehow. So they are simply producing the same kind of people. Then another biggest problem is that when you go to the defensive driving courses, there are no real courses which are actually training people to be good drivers, to be drivers who actually can protect lives. If you look at the area where this accident happened, it's an area which is very, very close to the toll gate, which means the driver was supposed to be exercising maximum caution, was supposed to be driving slowly. There is no excuse for this accident. No excuse whatsoever. Because when you are reaching the toll gate, speed limits start, I think it starts from 100, it goes to 80, it goes to 60, it goes to 40, it goes to 20. You get into the toll gate. And also, I believe they must put mass speed humps at certain places near the toll gate. I'm not so sure the distance, but speed bumps must be there. Say that even if drivers get asleep, they'll be awakened by those speed bumps. It's something which is very, very important. So one of the critical things is to note that our drivers generally, they are incompetent. And also the biggest problem which we have in Zimbabwe is that the regulating authorities, they are sleeping on duty. Buses must not exceed 100 kilometers per hour. 100 kilometers per hour must be the speed for the maximum for buses. So I believe maybe for the purposes of overtaking, it might just go up to 110. Only on circumstances of overtaking. But the speed limit must be 100 kilometers per hour. That speed is too much for a bus. And that is the safest speed. Balances in terms of time. For example, a bus which is traveling from Harare to Beitbridge, if it goes below 100, they will take much longer time to reach Beitbridge, which means the driver will be fatigued along the way. So if it goes above 100 again, it will be overspeeding, which means 100 must be the maximum speed limit for buses. And it must just be enforced. It's simple as that. So we need to make sure that we deal with these issues. The companies which own these buses, they must be the ones who employ drivers who know what they do. I have seen several companies, when you get a job, they will say, where is your license? You say, this is the license. Where is your medical? Where is your defensive? They would train you again. For example, Proton in Marondera, that Proton bread company. Unotoenda nelicense rako unopinda interview yekutanga watoenda iwewe kuno driver. Wotestwa by the instructors the Proton. When you pass, then unopinda parod. And ask yourself how many trucks the Protons inodona. Just a few. It's because they enforce that the compliance even per company at company level. The biggest problem which we have is that these companies are owned by ZANU-PF people. Vanenge vachimanyira kuboda notora vanhu vachimanyira kudzoka kuHarare nekuita sei. So they will spend most of their times vakapaka pambudzi apa paboka. Vanospend a whole day varipo vachiloadha kusvika bhazi razara vanokwira makuseni kuzosimuka pausiku. Then kana vakuenda they overspeed. That is the biggest problem which we have. Mabhazi wayaya they consider profits more than kufamba nenguva. The biggest problem is the company does not want to provide diesel. Saka driver anonzi wadira diesel from Beitbridge to Harare. When you are in Harare unonzi tsvaga diesel rako rekudzokesa. That is the biggest challenge, that is the biggest problem. And the companies, they must provide diesel for their buses. And bus harifaniri kuita time rakapaka muHarare umo richinzi riri kutsvaga vanhu kuti ridzokere kuBeitbridge. It can't happen like that. So I hope and believe that they will need to rectify that. They will need to correct that. At this point in time, for the period of 2025, I've observed buses like Inter-Africa. They're traveling so well. I'm not so sure all routes, but I've been looking at the buses which go to Beitbridge Harare, Beitbridge Mtare. Those buses have been traveling. Nema speeds are right, 100 kilometers per hour maximum. And they've been traveling so well for the period of 2025. So if they continue like that, then I hope and believe that they will be able to save more lives. So this is what is happening. This is what President Nelson Chamisa has said, and Zimbabwe has become a death threat, a death trap for travelers. If you look at the points between Rutenga and Ngundu and Chivi, Chivi and Masvingo, panipa pakashata. I'm not so sure why varikugadzira road varikuita zinyengeteke ipapo, but things are not well. So it is what it is, Team Zimbabwe. Thank you very much everyone for coming.